One of the best memes that I've ever seen is the one where first of all it's in Swahili, and it says that uko tu hapo unakula pilau yako and then unauma mguu ya kitanda at spices. This is referring to cinnamon or mdalasini that's usually put in pilau. And that has to be the funniest thing that I've ever seen because it's so relatable. So this is day 24 of building an AI startup in 120 days. So let's think about this. One of the things that I've actively been thinking about is the role of architects in society. And I think I distill it down to architects are the ones who put cinnamon, mdalasini, ama mguu ya kitanda in the built environment of a society. And this is how I distill it down. There are 3 basic needs: food, shelter, clothing. 3. In the food aspect, chefs are the ones who ideally put, like, spices have no inherent nutritional value, but there's something they do to food. And chefs are the ones who are, because ideally, if you think about it, in the past, people used to do hunting and gathering. You got the meat and you just put it over fire, and that was that. And you got the herbs and roots and tubers, and you cook them over fire and you ate and you were well. But as society grows, there's an expression of culture through the food in terms of how they prepare it. First of all, even what's available within the environment. So eventually food becomes an expression of culture. The same with food, shelter, and clothing. With clothing, initially, people used to dress just to safeguard themselves from the environment. And then as time goes, they develop a sense of style, and as society grows, it becomes a whole expression of their culture, of their identity. And at the peak of that need of human society are fashion designers. And at the peak of the food need are chefs. Now, in the built environment, architects are the ones who are at the peak of it, in terms of they're the ones who are supposed to figure out the highest expression of that need, the need for shelter. And I think the role of architects, therefore, should actively be thinking about how they express and how they serve their cultures. It's just not about buildings, because otherwise we could really live in boxes, in cubed boxes all around. And remember, every time you go to a new society, the things that you're trying to see is what kind of cuisine do they have, how do they dress, and what are their interesting landmarks. That's what you go to China today, that's the things you're trying to see. And if you go and you find a modern society, you always feel out of, like, you haven't experienced it. So that's what I think. What do you think? Am I wrong? Am I right? Correct me.